Hey, welcome to Heartcore, the Human Design Podcast. I'm Chell, that's Miko,
Hi, everyone.
and today I'm embracing my inner gamer girl, as you guys can see. So, last week my microphone decided to take a shit, and my audio box subsequently decided to take a shit, and here we are with this ridiculous setup and my husband's gaming headphone. So, here we are.
I like it.
Yeah.
Former gamer girl talking.
I played The Sims, but nothing that would necessitate this insanity on my head.
You missed out. It's destiny all the way.
Destiny. E destino. Okay, well, I guess a decent segue into today's topic, talking about incarnation crosses. So, if you've ever wondered if your life has a destined purpose, or if there's something written in the stars for you, or perhaps there's more of a subtle and organic way than you think to be able to achieve that, it may be found in your incarnation cross. But let's demystify it because I feel like there's so much pressure about living out your purpose as a human. And what it really breaks down to incarnation crosswise is leaning into your strategy and authority. That's what everything I feel like human design wise always comes back to is the basics. Living out your strategy and your authority within your authority and your design. So please keep that in mind when you are here listening to this episode. So we all want this direction and clarity for our lives, and it is achievable, right? Like it is out there. We all are here to make an impact on earth, to do something meaningful in our own way, in some way, shape, or form. And there's so many quotes out there. I'm sure you've seen scrolling through on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, TikTok, wherever you get your information, those quotes of being like, I just want to know why I'm here, or like, there's got to be a bigger purpose, a bigger meaning, and there can be, right? Like, if you look into your incarnation cross as a human, and again, with everything, when it gets down to kind of more of the intense details within human design, please ensure your birth time is accurate, right? Because a lot can change minute to minute, hour to hour, 15 minute to 15 minutes. So please make sure your birth time is accurate when you are looking at your incarnation cross. But yeah, it can tell you what you're here to do as a human, what that life's purpose is for yourself. But I think the other important aspect of it is to not get too wrapped up in it, right? With other ways of looking into yourself or doing that self-discovery, whether it be like Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, things of that nature, I feel like a lot of times people can be like, I'm an INFJ. That is my whole identity. Or I'm a 9 with a 1 wing. That is my whole identity, like Enneagram wise, right? Think about it as the opposite with human design. Yes, you have your authority, your strategy that comes with your design. However, trying not to get stuck in that box, trying not to get stuck in the incarnation cross box is also going to be really important because there's so much more to you. And if you're just focusing on why a piece of paper is telling you you're here to make an impact in the world, you're not going to be able to seek out the opportunities that will actually help you make the impact. So please keep that in mind as we go further into this discussion this evening. Today, we're recording in the evening, my time. That's why I said that. Yeah.
So we're recording in the morning, my time. So after this introduction of Celestina, let's take a look at where you can actually find your incarnation cross. And for today, we are showing you an example chart. The 14th Dalai Lama. We thought that was very fitting when it came to incarnation crosses because he's the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama. So where you find your incarnation cross is your personality sun, your personality earth, and your design sun and design earth. If you're then looking at the mandala, so the mandala is a round thing around the human design body graph, you can see that the personality, well, this is the design sun, but the personality sun is always opposite the personality earth, and the design sun is always opposite the design earth. So it creates this cross, which is why it is the incarnation cross. And there is a book which is called the Book of Destiny, I think, if I remember correctly. Chetan Parkir or something like this is his name, which gives you a very, very top level insight into your Incarnation Cross. But if you really want to dig deeper into your Incarnation Cross, I would always recommend looking at the gates. So really dissecting the individual gates of your Incarnation Cross instead of just looking at an overall definition of what the cross stands for, but mixing it together. So Googling your Incarnation Cross, getting a top level, high level view of your Incarnation Cross. What does it mean? What is the path that I'm supposed to be going on, or that I'm here to fulfill? Because as Celestina said, it's not really a conscious decision. It's not really something that you actively seek out once you know what your Incarnation Cross is, but it is something that will just fall into place. And it is often things that you anyways already see in childhood. And to me, dissecting the individual gates and really understanding the individual gates gives you just another insight into what it is you're here to do. And in order to do that, I personally use the gene keys because it gives you a great insight into what are your shadows, what are your gifts, and what is the siddhi of the gate. It's very rare to be able to reach the siddhi because it's a form of enlightenment, but it gives you a great insight into what the different stages are. And I personally can very much relate to my specifically or especially the personality side of things because this is conscious. And when I look back at my childhood or my teenage years, I was definitely living out the shadow aspect of my personality, sun and earth, I would say. So once you've figured out what the gates are and you've taken a deep dive into these aspects, you can also always look at the Incarnation Cross name. And don't get freaked out by these names because they're sometimes really harsh. Like a lot of things in human design, when you first read the names of certain things, like last time we talked about motivation, and it can sound really harsh. But the Incarnation Cross names will also kind of give you an idea of what it is, but you can just Google those and it will give you a top level insight into the complete combined meaning of these gates. And you will also always see whether it is a right angle cross or a left angle cross. So here in the Dalai Lama version, we have a right angle cross. And this is always going to give you yet another meaning to your cross. So the right angle cross is someone that has the number. So you have the profile numbers, and you can always look at the personality and design lines. This will provide you with the personality numbers. So you can, the profile numbers. So you can see here on the personality side, we have a 4th line. The personality, the conscious side is always in first place in the profile. And then we have the 6th line in the design side, which is the 2nd number in the profile. So we have a 4-6 profile. Need to check. And if the number on the left is larger than the number on the right, it's a left angle cross. But there is one exception, which is the 4-1 cross or the 4-1 profile. And that creates the juxtaposition cross. So everything else falls into these categories. When the number on the left is smaller than on the right, it's a right angle cross. And when it's larger than the one on the right, it's a left angle cross. So let's take a look at what that actually means. The right angle cross is about a personal destiny. And that means that there are usually not a lot of karmic things that you're encountering in life, if any. So it's really about your own personal journey, and it's about you doing you, basically. You're really here to live out your full potential, to live as authentically as you can, and to doing that by following your strategy and authority. And you're not as easily influenced by other people around you. So it always depends on the rest of your design, of course, because as you can see here, the Dalai Lama has an undefined G center, for example. So his environment is super important. The people that are surrounding him are very important to how he may show up. But as a destiny, as a life path, it's him that needs to stand in the foreground. It is what does he need to do for himself to follow his path. So that is the right angle cross. Now we're going to go towards the juxtaposition cross.
So with the juxtaposition cross, as Miko mentioned earlier, only the 4-1 profile can have this, and the 4-1 profile is super rare. Only like 2.7-ish% of the population has a 4-1 profile. So the chances of having a juxtaposition cross is pretty slim, on top of the variety of different juxtaposition angle crosses that there are. So keep that in mind. Again, please take into account your birth time very accurately when looking at your human design and your incarnation cross. So the juxtaposition cross has these fixed geometry themes, very focused, very static themes. So rather than it just being about yourself, there's a bit more nuance to it. So you're not here to roam, you're here to hold a frequency in place. And this cross is kind of like a genetic lock in the sense of it being a stabilizing node of life. So it's not going to be about karma, but a static theme of presence throughout one's life. And think of it as holding a pattern that ensures continuity, and you're not going to really be here to change, but to embody a theme fully. Miko, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just that when you have a juxtaposition individual in front of you, they are very fixed. They're very, very, very fixed in who they are. And they're not here to change and be molded and to adapt to the people around them. They are usually the ones that are pulling other people into their lane. So when you are a juxtaposition cross, it is often your way or the highway. That's kind of how these individuals feel. And that's just natural to you if you're a juxtaposition cross, or if you have someone in your life that is a juxtaposition cross. Don't take it personal. That's just how they are and how they navigate the world. And it's also important because they're the bridge between the left angle and the right angle cross. So the way that it is often explained is that there's an example of being on a playground, playing with the sand and having your little castle that you're building, your sand castle, or other kids are doing other things, and those are the right angle crosses. They are here to play with their own little thing and to build their own little thing. And then you have the juxtaposition crosses, which are kind of navigating in between the left angle and the right angle crosses. The left angle cross is someone that sees, okay, they are doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this. So how can we kind of bring it all together? And the juxtaposition cross is communicating between those two. So they are explaining, okay, this is what the left angle cross wants and this is what the right angle cross wants. So now get along, figure it out. It's also often a bit challenging when you have someone that is a right angle cross and you have someone that is a left angle cross or a juxtaposition cross to really truly understand what you're on about. So because there's just a different type of energy behind it, a different type of karma behind it. Like in the left angle cross, you do have karmic patterns that you're here to resolve, that you're here to work through. You encounter people that are karmically linked to you. So if you don't believe in rebirth, then I don't know how else to explain this to you. But if you do believe in rebirth, then this is a karmic tie, is someone that you've met in the previous life and that is just coming back over and over again until you've figured out what it is you're supposed to learn from it. And this can be connected to yourself. This can also be connected to family members. But here in human design, we're more talking about the self when it comes to karmic connections and working through things. So the left angle cross is really here. Yes, you're also here to be your authentic self, but the people that enter your life have a bigger impact on you. So I feel like if a right angle cross is in a relationship with someone, they're not going to shift their life or change their life as drastically as a left angle cross. So depending on who you're with, is a left angle cross will really dramatically change your life. It can go into a completely different direction, whereas the right angle cross often has a tendency to be less pulled towards a completely different direction. Anything else you would like to add to that?
Dude, so much. Oh my God. With you saying that, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, dude, what if I didn't meet David like a decade ago? Because we're both left angle crosses, respectively. And I was like, dude, my life would look so different. And you saying this now, like, makes so much more sense to, like, tie it all in. Mind blown. Also, thinking about, like, my parents, my mom's a right and my dad's a left angle cross. And, like, I can see how that also plays into their life as well. So it's just very interesting to see that in, like, I guess, retroactively looking back. But in regards to what you mentioned earlier about exploring your cross through the gates, I had a really intense session with my human design coach friend back in like October of last year, and it was all about my incarnation cross, and it was so insightful, so helpful. So I have the left angle cross of confrontation, and like Miko said earlier, the names of crosses can feel so overwhelming, developing. Ugh, confrontation. I don't want to be confrontational. Just like peace, man. I'm the manifestor over here. Just want peace. But once I understood what that entailed of me potentially, man, it was so enlightening and so helpful to be able to step into the power behind it. And I was able to do that. So don't get stuck on the name. As Miko said, really dive into each of the gates that comprises your cross. And if you have the want and desire to go deeper into the gene keys, I'm sure that's super helpful as well. So yeah, that was a very long story long addition to this, but those are my 2 cents.
I mean, to me as well, it's extremely valuable to really dissect this cross and not just to look at the superficial definition that you will find out there on the internet, or even in the book that I previously mentioned, the Book of Destiny. Also would like to mention right here, right now, that it always depends whether your gates are in defined or undefined centers. So with the right angle cross, you have more of a tendency to be able to follow your own path, to do your own thing. As a left angle cross, you often need other people, or you do need other people to really make your business a success, or to be successful in general in life, in whatever aspect you want to be successful in. And additionally to that, it also depends whether your gates of the cross are in defined or undefined centers, because if they are in undefined centers, those are dormant gates. So 70% of your design is in the Incarnation Cross, can be found in the Incarnation Cross. However, if those gates are dormant, that means that a large percentage of your design, if all 4 gates are dormant, then it's 70% of your design that is dormant and can only be activated through certain transitions of the planets or other people coming into your life. So as you can see, again, in human design, just looking at one tiny little aspect can be very limiting. So you need to look at the whole chart, at the whole all the aspects, not just the gates, but also the lines. They also provide you with insights. And then if you go into color tones and bases, like for example, the Dalai Lama in his conscious earth and conscious sun, it's all 4s. So his theme, his 4th line theme, 4th color, 4th tone, 4th base is extremely important. And you can already understand how crucial connecting with people is for him. Having a network of people, and you can see this, I just watched a documentary about Buddhism and science, and he brings people in. He wants to connect Buddhism and science. Every monk that is studying under him is also studying physics, and I didn't know that. I found that super interesting. And you can see how important this 4th line. So when you're talking about the 4th line, whether you're talking color, tone, or base, or just line or profile, you will just understand, okay, networking, having a close connection to certain people, bringing them in. And he has a podcast where he brings in these scientists. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So he brings in these scientists and he talks to them about it, and he asks them questions, and he wants to dive deeper and really understand about what do particles do? Like there was the Higgs boson that was just discovered I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, whenever the Big Bang Theory was out. That's why I loved watching the Big Bang Theory, because they were always on track with what was currently happening in the scientific field. So they were really diving into these topics, and he wants to know more and learn more. And they also have conversations about consciousness and how science sees it and how Buddhism sees it. So it's just really fascinating to take a look at this. And that is what I mean, the fourth line, or color, tone, and base, it's a foundation. You really want to understand a lot about whatever it is you're learning. It's similar to the first line, but the fourth line has more of an aspect of networking, but only with close friends and family. So he has a network of people that he kept going back to. A very close friend of his passed away from cancer not too long ago, I think. And he invited him over and over to these podcasts because he wanted to learn more and more about what it is that connects science with Buddhism, and just dive into themes that wouldn't or haven't been able to be discovered through science yet. And as you go along throughout history, throughout the recent years, there's more and more that comes to light. And he's a very, very curious mind.
That's super cool. I didn't know that. Also, I've never seen fours straight down, like someone's color tone basis. That's dope. Or any number straight down. So with all of this, just some things to keep in mind. Think of your cross as a theme for your life rather than a mission for your life, right? Still live your life out. Listen to that inner voice, whatever that is, wherever that is in your body. Be respective of your strategy, right? Think of all of that. And it's not something that you have to like figure out how to fulfill it. Again, it'll happen if you're listening to that inner self. And it's also important to note that like if you're not living it out right now, that doesn't mean that you're off track, right? There's always a way to kind of readjust, regroup, and quote unquote get back on track. But like you don't have to get back on track. If you're just doing you will be on the track, if that makes sense. So the Incarnation Cross doesn't determine like your ideal career or what you should be doing with your life, right? It's pretty fluid in the sense that yes, that may still be your life's purpose, but it can be achieved through a variety of different things, right? Mine, for example, confrontation. To me, that means like if you're looking at it point blank, like you should be a lawyer, right? Like you should be in a position where you are having, I don't know, confronting or challenging conversations with people all the time. And that's not the case. I would think I'd hate being a lawyer, to be honest. Like, a little too much peopling for my liking. However, if you kind of just rearrange that and think of it as a theme rather than the mission, right? If you are confronting challenging situations, or if you're having challenging conversations with someone in front of you to be able to get in my case, the resources to the people who need them, because if you're looking at the gates that make up your Incarnation Cross, it makes a little bit more sense. So again, think of it as the theme rather than the mission of your life. And there's no quote unquote correct way to do it. There's not one job out there for you. Rather than getting stuck in this box, think of it as an opportunity to be able to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of where it comes in again to, first of all, look at the full design. And second of all, to go into the gates. So when you're looking, as this example shows, with the Dalai Lama, we have gate 38, 39 that are in the defined route, which is, however, unconsciously defined through the 360 channel. In the whole essence of things, it still works because he has the definition within himself. So he's aware of the 39, 38, and he's also able to express it. And that means that he has this fighting for the right thing energy in his root. This is what is defined in his conscious earth, and that means that it is something that is grounding to him. So if he has a mission, when he knows, okay, this is what I want to fight for, and he does, you can see that, but it could be any type of mission. So this is what I mean, that it is very, very fluid in what it is you do. because he is currently just trying to really bridge the gap between science and Buddhism and spirituality. And that is a big mission of him. He wants to show that both can coexist, both can be right, both can be wrong as well, potentially. But he wants to create proof for more rational thinking individuals that there is a lot of insights in also the ancient texts and the wisdom that you can gain through downloading things, through getting the inspiration from the Akashic records, for example, or the quantum field, and other people are doing it through science. And so his 38 is fighting for the right cause, but also when you look at the fourth line, it's investigation. So it's really about analyzing and investigating what works, what doesn't work, and provoking people on the other side. And he doesn't do it in a mean way, but it can be seen as provocation by certain individuals that he's trying to do something that is very different, it's very new, and he will only be able to connect with the right kind of individuals that are right for him. The other ones are going to really feel provoked by him and are going to just step away from him. So this is his personality, where he needs to feel grounded in fighting for the right things, and he's also going to break barriers, step into new territory by provoking other people, because that's just part of the deal when you have this 38-39 situation over there, which I can relate to very well. On the other hand, we have 48 in his design Earth, which is in the undefined spleen. So this is a dormant gate, and the 21 first gate is in a defined ego. It's consciously defined, the ego and the emotional solar plexus. So he's someone that is aware of, or most likely aware of, having to take his time before making decisions. And you can also see it when he's talking to the people. He takes it in and he takes some time, and he most of the time doesn't really react to it and share his own opinion. He often just digests it, waits for it, and he needs to do that because he's a triple split definition as well. So the information that he takes in needs to be digested and needs time to gain clarity. So the only part of his incarnation cross that is not consistently defined or active in his chart is the 48th gate. And that is about really understanding what are my skills, which skills am I developing, and continuously working on it, continuously just working on your skills. And because he's missing the 16th gate, there are only certain times where he can really share these informations, these skills that he has at the right time. He can't consistently live out his gifts, but the great thing about him is that when he's in a big group of people, which he often is, when he's speaking in front of an audience, when he's doing these podcasts, they're always in a huge room full of people. So he does then receive the 16th gate from someone, I'm sure. So, or defined spleen in this case. And the 21st gate is this being able to provide the right resources, as Celestina very well knows. So having this kind of incarnation cross, you can see that there is going to be a theme of provocation in a certain way, of breaking barriers. There is this, I want to fight for the right thing. I'm going to stand up for the things that matter. And he does that by connecting science and Buddhism. He's also got this, I'm going to provide the resources. And he does that by bringing these scientists together and by collecting all the information that he can for his disciples. I don't know if you call monks disciples, but the people that are being trained by him in the Buddhist centers that he has. And then you also have the 48th gate, which is really about just continuously accumulating and honing in on your gifts, on your skills. So you can see, yes, that's what he does. And so I'm sure that he naturally just follows his strategy and inner authority. And that's why it's falling into place. He also has the wet kitchen. I had to look at it. wet kitchen environments. And in the documentary, you could also see him how he was so fascinated when he was in the middle of these laboratories or of these factories where ingredients are coming together. And this was he had so many questions during this time. He was just like a little kid, super curious. And yeah, you can see that we don't have the exact birth time. It was a rectification, but I feel like this fits so well for him. He thrives in these situations. So yeah, I think this is a great little insight into incarnation crosses and how you can use it, how you can gain deeper insights into it, and how you can just go with the flow and not be fixed in, I need to be a doctor, I need to be a teacher, I need to be a lawyer, I need to be this, because it can be applied to so many different things. But there are certain inherent skills that you have inside of you that are going to help you depending on which direction you're going into.
Yeah, so some thoughts to leave you guys with. Don't force the cross. No, I'm saying don't force it. Remember to use your strategy and authority. And listen, right? Remember to listen internally. So we invite you guys to answer in the comments, in the areas below, what is your cross? And are there any patterns that you've seen in your life that maybe this episode was like, whoa, I didn't realize that was connected to that, or whatever. Like I had that moment earlier. So share it with us below, start that conversation, and talk to you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.